Generating material. Using time. Those who have caused us early pain and loneliness, the sources of our art, should we detest them or kiss their feet? Wesley McNair. Craft tip number 1. Where Inspiration Waits for You, by Bruce Deathlifson. Identify your best sources of inspiration. Return to them when needed. For me, it's the 3 R's: reading, regarding, and remembering. When I read a poem that knocks me out, I try to figure out how the poet did that to me and where I can go with this. It's as if the poet built a swimming pool of ideas. Do I want to jump into the deep end or the shallow end? Stick my toe in from the ladder or soar from the diving board? After reading such a poem, consider the following. Is there an image that grabs you? If so, try to imitate it in a new poem. Is there something about the syntax, some unusual sentence structure that you might try your hand at? Regarding and observing is my second best source of inspiration. When I was in college, I sat at the bus terminal and watched people come and go. Good poets belong in a witness protection program. Make the following practices part of your routine. Never leave home without a small notebook. As you quietly observe, take some notes. If you don't, those observations might be gone by the time you get home. Remembering is my third best source of inspiration. I've constructed a big house with some 60 rooms for me to visit any time I want. I choose a room and look around. Say room 13, where I see myself at the sock hop in my white socks, hoping to work up the courage to ask some girl to dance. On any given day, you can begin this way. 1. Make a list of important events from a particular year or part of a year, for example, the summer of '66. And 2. Choose one and free write about it. See where it takes you. Poem and prompt. Flying. I have a flying dream, have since I was a kid. In it, I remember suddenly how to fly, something for some reason I've forgotten. By getting to a certain place in my mind, I am able simply to rise. I go up only about 60 or 70 feet, but that's high enough to look down on my house. The one I grew up in Tuscola. Look down on it and the trees of the neighborhood. It's high enough to watch my father from above as he leaves for work, to see my mother as she gathers grapes from the backyard arbor, to see my sister in her pretty dress pulling all her friends in our wagon down the long new sidewalks, to see our many dogs over the years, high enough to see the blur of childhood, to put my quiet shadow over all of us early on. In the dream, it's a summer's day, and I might sometimes also be the one looking up, squinting hard and seeing way high above birds moving, black spots against the blue. Philip F. Deaver. Deaver takes a conventional approach to the poem of imagination. That is, he begins with a dream. This allows him to make the impossible possible, to make us suspend our disbelief. He goes back in time to childhood and places himself in the sky. From there, he looks down on his childhood home and gives us a catalog of things he sees. He uses first person, and although he's writing about past experience, he uses present tense. Thus, the scene is dynamic, and we feel as if we are witnessing it. Let's give this way of approaching memory a try. Put yourself into a dreamlike state and go back to an earlier time. You might return to your old house, but you could also return to school or summer camp or the hospital. Now, recall images and memories. Feel free to invent. Quickly write them down. Select the best ones and the ones that work together. Where could you be as you observe the scene? In a tree? On the ceiling? On the roof?